What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and we're just going to roll footage on week 47 and see how it ended up going for me. Just in the beginning of the video, I would like to remind you guys that I am on week 2 of my surgery recovery. I managed to get in the gym 4 times this week. I got 2 dedicated lower body days, 1 that I did some upper body stuff on, and I'll talk through that, and 1 where I just kind of had fun. It was Strongman Saturday. I went, I pulled a sled around, and just kind of messed around. But again, at this point in time, I'm just happy that I was able to get 4 sessions in the gym. It doesn't necessarily matter, I feel like at this point, what I'm doing, as long as I'm doing something, because I think it's more of a mental health thing. But anyways, I will see you right here after the voiceover, and we'll talk about some other stuff. So I managed to get out the first day of the week. I got out was on Tuesday, and it was a good day. Other guys were doing their normal thing, so they were doing, I believe, some high bar squatting, which kind of matched up with what I was doing with the belt squat. So right now I'm still putting that chain through the end of the actual belt squat arm. And I just wanted to give you an idea of kind of how I have to get into position with the landmine being as low as it is. I kind of have to get down, get set in the belt, put it together, stand up, flip the landmine up onto the handle. And the big trick with this, and to be successful in training without hurting myself, I'm really focusing on just relaxing my right arm. And it's incredibly difficult to do. With belt squat, I'm also having some particular difficulty, and you can kind of see how last week was even worse, but with this week, when I get into what I would consider the bottom of the belt squat movement, my whole upper body starts to collapse down. I'm just trying to make a deliberate effort to keep that upright. So that's how that went. After that was some conditioning, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I only hit the air bike once this week. I need to start hitting this pretty much every single day. I need to do it, and I haven't done it. But what you're seeing, what I did this week is I kind of upped the intensity. This is 30 seconds work, 20 seconds rest for 20 total rounds. And I'm hoping to be able to keep this intensity up. My benchmark when I'm doing the air bike, is I try to have a minimum of 400 watts during the work interval. With that first interval you just saw there, that was right up around 600, I think, is my peak for this particular session. And of course it's easy when it's one of the first ones. One of the other difficulties I have is, so I have my arm wrapped up in a towel and in my brace so that I don't sweat and stink up my arm sling. But every once in a while, it'll actually come back, the other arm on the air bike will come back and smoke you in the arm, and it hurts pretty bad. After that, did some Bulgarian split squats. I tried to use a single dumbbell, but it wasn't really working, so I just nailed these ones, just doing them weightless. And again, just trying to concentrate on relaxing that right arm, which is just really hard to do, especially when I'm used to training where I kind of brace and breathe in opposite order. So I breathe and brace and then, go for a lift. So this is Wednesday, and I went out to my coach's gym. I couldn't do anything that they were doing. And so what I ended up doing was just some grip work. And we started on this handle. I can't remember what this handle is called, but it's a good piece of kit. Unfortunately, though, it's easy to kind of overdo it, and it's incredibly difficult to lift something with your left hand and not try really hard with your right. So I moved on to hub, which you're seeing here, and rocked out some hub repetitions. My coach's hub is an actual Ironmind hub versus mine, which is kind of a homemade one. It's actually made out of a piece of ordnance. It's made out of a 155 projectile nose plug. So mine's a little bit more difficult to use than the actual Ironmind one, which is a good thing. And then I did these rows, which I was able to do successfully, keeping it lightweight, mind you, but still able to do. No pain. After that, moved on to Thursday, which was deadlift day for my training partner that showed up. And I started with these trolley arm. I just wanted to try to get some pushing motion. I wanted to do a push-pull day, but it turned into only a push day. And what I started figuring out is that I'm able to add basically a ton of weight to the trolley arm, and it doesn't make that much of a difference on the actual push. And so I started to add more and more band tension, which I'm showing you here. And as the band tension grew, it actually started to move the bench back. And so I had to move the bench back up and that's 2 green bands, so 2 rogue green medium bands. So I think those are like 75 pounds a piece, plus the 1 red one that's just there as a short band. And then I did a last set with the black band, which I think is their 100-pound band, and this was kind of the happy medium. Then I set up and I figured I might as well do some belt squats because that's kind of the theme of my training anymore. And I set it up, we'll call it incorrectly, so I couldn't actually flip the landmine post onto the handle. Well, because it was already set up and it takes me forever to set this up with one hand, I just decided to hold the landmine out of the way. After that, I worked into, this is a march. So I read a little bit about marching. I should have read more about marching, but I read a little bit. And so this is my 1-minute march. Kind of putting some fast forward action here. But what you're seeing is basically I'm just kind of low stepping, not really high stepping. The belt squat wasn't really set up for this, but this next week I plan on doing a march where I actually step up onto a plate, a 45-pound high temp plate. After that, I just kind of messed around with it. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so like what can I do that's different? I mean, obviously I can do calf raises, but like, can I do some sort of lunge? Can I do a Bulgarian split squat of sorts? Trying to figure out what kind of different variations I can start looking at. So if you know of something that I'm not doing here, go ahead and comment down below and just kind of give me that feedback, give me that tip. I'll definitely use whatever you guys give me, and I appreciate any advice that you have. I'm just trying to find something to kind of keep me occupied as I go through this recovery phase. Unfortunately, I'm not really one to just not work out. That's just not who I am. That's not in my blood. So I'm going to train. I just need better ways to do training, especially when I'm trying to follow my PT and my doc's advice, no loading on the shoulders. So basically just using a belt squat on my left arm, keeping it lightweight if I use upper body. So welcome to Strongman Saturday. And so I basically just helped with loading the bar for some axle clean and press that the guys were doing. Messed up some math trying to load up the yoke, which is always fun. And then I just wanted to do these sled drags. I used to do these back when I did Neversate, so Brian Alzer's programming back in Ohio. I did these all the time with him, and I just remember it would just blast your quads. And so we ended up stacking these 4 plates. There's 10-pound plates in between each one of the 45s. And I just happened to have an awesome set of team members that pretty much set this whole thing up for me. And so to show them my appreciation, I decided to try to pull Marcus here on the sled, which I got him going. But this is right after I finished that set, and my quads were just burned out. So I only pulled him like 10 feet. And then I went and gave it like a probably 2 or 3 minute rest. And then I decided to pull my other shoulder recovery brother here, and I managed to pull him for a 50-foot pull. He went through a very similar shoulder repair that I went through just recently, except for he went through it a couple months ago, so it's always nice having him around. It's a reminder that, I will get back to normal. He does a lot for my mindset, trying to keep me straight. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate you showing up. After that, of course, why would I not do more belt squats? So this is me just showing Mike what the belt squats how they work using my system. So I'm not really doing anything heavy here, just kind of messing around with it. And then we decided to try to see what it felt like if we were standing on top of like a 2-inch plate. And I'm probably going to start doing this every single time. I might actually make, I say I'm going to make something, I probably won't, but I think it would benefit if you're going to be doing maybe jammer arm squats or trolley arm squats like I'm doing, to stand on top of a slightly elevated platform. It helps with range of motion, and it just makes the movement feel a little bit better. Might even be able to build in some steps. We'll see. And also, it's always fun to have my daughter out and handing me broken toys while I train. So that's week 47. Again, I was really happy with 4 sessions. I plan on getting at least 4 sessions in next week as well. Probably get some more air bike. It seems to be the only piece of conditioning I can really do. Going forward, I switch physical therapy providers next week. So I was going to the on-base provider here, and it's switching to go to a civilian provider due to some snafus of sort. Not necessarily anybody's fault in particular, but I'm definitely happy with the provider I'll be going to for the remainder of my physical therapy for my shoulder. But the big goals moving forward are to figure out some possibly different exercises I can do with the belt squatting that I have here. I believe I'll have the opportunity in week 48 to actually go and try a Rogue Rhino belt squat, which is the one that I'd really like to have. I would really love to own one. Again, it's just a price tag issue. Being able to try to swing a almost $2,000 purchase on a piece of equipment isn't really in the budget right now. Hopefully in the future, it'll definitely get used. But I will be focusing a lot on grip work with my left hand. The big limiting right now is I'm just doing hub right now, because with hub, I very quickly hit my max weight that I can do. What I keep finding is that as I work my left arm or my left grip, anything to do with my left arm, is there's a lot of carryover. When you do something with your left arm, carries over to your right arm, and I'm really scared of messing up anything that has to do with this surgery. I'd rather just have this surgery be successful, one and done, not have to go back and have to fix anything up. In week 2, I'm really starting to hit a lot of just kind of achy pain in my elbow. I do have some mobility exercises that my civilian physical therapist walked me through. It's just kind of like moving the elbow. Again, not using this arm to move my elbow, but using my good arm to move my elbow up and down in a supported position. I'm also doing my thigh slides that, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the creepy version of the thigh slides. And then it's just a lot of relax and stop trying to use this arm. You don't realize how many things you do that actually require the use of both of your arms until you only have the use of one of them. But again, first world problems, I still have both my arms, and I definitely know people that don't have arms or don't have legs. But that's week 47 in the books. If you guys don't already follow me on Instagram, if you look up _Kurt Locker, Kurt Locker with a K, you can find me on Instagram there. I post almost all of my training footage, but it's just very short segments of all my training footage. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I plan on putting out some more equipment review videos in the near future, but right now I'm really focusing on school. I'm trying to complete my degree, and I just have a hard time juggling family. Next week I'll be starting work again, plus school, and then trying to create videos on top of trying to still get out and train as often as I do. Again, I've got my rack and stack, and I prioritize and execute everything that I do based on that rack and stack of what's important to me. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week in week 48.